Hey everybody, Barry here. I just got my SKAR Audio Marine speakers in and about to open them up and check them out. I thought I would do a review on these. It's my first boat in quite a long time, and marine audio especially has really exploded over the last few years, especially since I used to do car audio professionally. Several years ago, I had worked for a custom shop for quite a number of years, doing custom car audio and marine audio and ATV audio and whatnot. And just recently bought a Moomba wakeboard boat, and it's used. And the speakers that are in there, it's definitely time to do some replacement on them. I had been doing some research and some reading and looking around at some different types of marine speakers, and vast price ranges in them. And I didn't really want to start off right off the bat with this boat with going full out. And eventually I'm going to get some speakers for the wakeboard rig, but primarily right now I was concerned about were the ones that are on the boat itself. And so I'd looked at some JL audio, some Rockford Fosgate. I'm a big Rockford Fosgate fan. In fact, I have a really great Fosgate sub that's just sitting in the garage right now, not really doing anything. So I came across SKAR Audio, and it had a lot of really positive reviews. I wasn't familiar with SKAR Audio before this, so I thought, for the price, I'll give them a try. And so I just got them in. I'm excited to check them out, and we'll see what happens. So I just cracked open the shipping box that they came in, and man, they came uber fast. I had only ordered them like 3 days ago, and they weren't supposed to be in until right before next weekend. So I was going to be out on the lake this weekend with the old crummy speakers that are in the Moomba. But to my surprise, this morning I got notification that they were out for delivery. So super stoked about that. I'm going to put these speakers in tonight, and this weekend we'll give them a whirl and see what they're like. So one thing I noticed right off the bat, the box was heavier than I expected, which is great. That means that they probably have a pretty good solid magnet on it. The magnets are good for your power response, your power handling, and your frequency response. When you have a stronger magnet and a stronger voice coil, you get better sensitivity and better sound reproduction. So it's pretty cool to see that they had fairly heavy magnets on them. And obviously it's packaged pretty nice here. Got user's manual, some foam surrounds to put between this boat and the speaker, and pretty nice packaging, and there they are. And that's a pretty hefty speaker there. So looks good upon first impression. Looks like it's built fairly well. I can already see right away that the bolt pattern's a little bit different than the speakers that are currently in the Moomba. So we may have to do a little bit of drilling to accommodate that, but shouldn't be a big deal. Anyway, there they are, fresh out of the package, and we'll go put them in the boat later on when it cools off. So here we go. As you can see, we have the old Kenwood Marines up here in the bow of the boat. We're gonna take those two out and replace it with the new SKAR Audio. Here in the back of the boat, passenger area in the back of the boat, we have the other 6.5 Kenwoods that are back here, and behind the driver's seat here. And so give me a few, and we'll get them swapped out. See how the new ones sound. So I just tuned in whatever was on the radio there. Front one up here, I'm sure you can hear this one. It's rattling pretty bad. So we will get these swapped out and come back with the SKARs. So I just pulled one of the speakers out of the boat, and then one of the SKAR Audio speakers out of the box, and just right away you can see just major difference here. Major difference. Tiny little magnet, and also not really protected on the backside. It really has a nice little baffle and protection for the magnet as well. And so I will get these put in, and I'll see you in a minute. So quick little update. I didn't get to get the speakers in Friday night as I hoped. A little bit of an issue. Like I showed at first, I already knew there was going to be a problem with the bolt pattern over here from what the original factory installed Kenwood speakers were to the new SKAR Audio. Not a big deal with the bolt pattern, but when I pulled the old factory installed Kenwood speakers out, you know, as I talked about, the back of the speaker and the magnet and the basket was not that big, and the SKAR Audio ones are significantly bigger. So what I ran into was the hole that was installed from the factory in the boat for the Kenwoods. Even though they're both 6.5-inch speakers, the SKAR Audio does require a little bit bigger hole to be mounted in. As you can see, I just quickly drew a line around it, so you can see it's going to take about another 1/4 inch all the way around and through both layers here, both through the panel and then through the fiberglass of the inside of the boat there, to make these SKAR Audio speakers fit. So you do want to be aware of that. If you're ordering these, you may need to modify the hole if your boat already has some smaller 6.5-inch diameter speakers in it. So I'm going to go dig out the either the air saw, the reciprocating saw, and I have to do a little bit of modification, and hopefully we'll get that done today. It's about 8 o'clock in the morning here on Sunday, August something here in Texas, and it's already about 90 degrees outside. So I'm going to try to go get this done before it gets uber hot like it was out on the lake yesterday. It was, man, it was hot, but that's not what this is about. See you soon. So hopefully you can hear me over the fan over there because it's kind of hot out here. I've got the first hole cut, and as you can see, the vinyl obviously is kind of loose in that area, and it was under the old speaker too. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my glue gun, and already vacuumed out all the shavings that got up in there. So make sure you got a shop vac handy, because it does toss out a lot of shavings when you do this. Anyway, I'm going to go and I'm going to put a bead of hot glue all the way around the opening before I put the speaker in, just to give that vinyl an extra bit of security. Okay, so 1 down, 3 to go. And one thing I didn't do video, but what I did was when I went to go put the screws in, before I put them in, I pre-drilled the holes, put a pilot hole in there. If you've ever worked on a boat before, you know, if just driving the screw straight into either the ABS that's behind your vinyl or the fiberglass behind that, it can crack, and you don't want to do that. So I did a little pilot hole and then put my screws in, and we're off to the races. So off to the next speaker, which is going to pose an even bigger challenge. It's on the driver's side, and there's a bunch of the boat's wiring behind where the old speaker was, so I'll get to work on that later. Okay, so I've got the second one in. It's not mounted yet, but as you can see, it made quite a bit of a mess. It threw sawdust all over everywhere, all over the dash and control panel and everything. So before I go in and glue the edges of the vinyl and put the screws in and do the final mounting of the speaker, I'm going to do a little bit of cleanup, and then it'll be off to the bow. Hey everybody, it's Barry. It's back. It's Monday evening, and well, it took a little bit to put these speakers here, the SKAR 6.5 Marine Edition, into the Moomba, but it turned out well, and hopefully you can hear me over. Just jam a little bit. Major improvement over what was in here before. I don't have an amplifier in here. I do have a high watt 4x35 receiver in here, head unit in here. I am going to go ahead and put a 5-channel amp in here with a subwoofer. I've got that Fosgate sub that I'm going to put in here eventually when it cools off a little bit. But overall, impressions on the SKAR Audio speakers, pretty good, especially for the money. For $100 for the pair, man, the sound difference between some of the competitors that I went to Car Toys and Earmark and a couple other custom shops around town, and for the money, you can't beat the value and the sound on these speakers. It turned out a little bit better than I expected. So sorry, got interrupted there, but anyway, what I was saying was, for the money, for $100 for the pair, you can't go wrong with them. Definitely impressed. Sound every bit as good as some of the ones that I listened to that were priced 2 and 3 times higher than what these were. So I'm looking forward to jamming them on the lake this weekend. I think there's new Deftones coming out I think I'll download. And speaking of that, if you know who I am, I'm the guitar player in Dark Avenue. If you don't, and we have a new record coming out on September 18th, so I'll put a link up there somewhere to go check out Dark Avenue and go check that out for sure. But in the meantime, like I said, shameless plug, the SKAR Audio. Now, do be aware that you may have to make some modifications. They do not fit into your standard 6.5-inch speaker mount. These took about a good 1/4 to 3/8 inch further cutting, and it was quite the challenge on the rear speakers on this boat, because I was going through about 1/2-inch thick ABS that was underneath my vinyl, and then the fiberglass that was behind that was almost a 1/2 inch thick on there. The front wasn't as bad. The fronts went in pretty easy because it was just the fiberglass up there. But it did require quite a bit of, cutting. So just beware of that. If your boat's a newer boat, perhaps they already have bigger holes in them, but perhaps not. So if you're handy and you have a recip saw or an air saw, you're probably in good shape. If not, you're probably going to need to take your boat into a stereo shop and have them make the modifications for them. But overall, like I said, great bang for the buck. Very pleased with them. Can't wait to jam on the lake this weekend. See ya.